Hello and welcome to The Heart of the Matter. My name is Omotayo. Now, on today's episode, we are chatting with director extraordinaire, Mr. Niyi Akinmolayan. He's the director behind some of the biggest movies that you have seen on the big screen in Nigeria. The Wedding Party 2, The Arbitration, Falling, Out of Luck, and the uber-successful Chief Daddy. Now, what many people don't know is that he's also very, very passionate about culture, impact, and change in the country through media, specifically children's content. Yes, we're going to sit with him and chat all about it. Stick around, you don't want to miss this. Welcome back to The Heart of the Matter. We are here with Mr. Niyi Akinmolayan. Hi, Niyi. You are very controversial on social media for fighting. No, a couple of things. One, you fight with God. Two, you're very vocal about societal change. And you're one of the things I really like about you is knowledge sharing. You always share what you know. You're very into community, sharing your knowledge and building people and actually improving people to have actual impact. But I want to start, before the impact stuff, which is the real stuff, I just want to ask you why. Why are you fighting with God? What has God done?
Well, you can't fight with God. I don't think anybody can fight with God. I mean, that would presume that you have something physical you're fighting with.
I suppose.
Maybe I think I'm just a little bit concerned about the idea of God, in Nigeria and how we use it. And I say this all the time. People create the boxes. I never, put myself in a box.
Right.
So I'm not religious, but I'm not an atheist or anything. I'm
Right.
excited about learning new stuff. But most importantly, I love when organized religions are very genuine about what they are. And I started my career in church, with people I consider some of, the greatest people I've ever met in my life, people that I consider mentors.
Right.
Even if I don't go to their churches again, I learned a lot of leadership, skills from them, because it is not easy, to grow a church. It's not easy to have the burden of thousands of people on you. And one of the things I noticed then was that there was a lot of people wearing totally genuine about their own struggles.
Right.
And it was a bit of an issue, especially when you work very closely, with leaders, and you realize that they have the same problems.
Yes.
They are frustrated about the same things. Yes. They fall into the same temptations and commit the same sins, so to speak. And but the problem for me was always that we could always explain it away. And so that got me thinking about what I wanted to be part of and what I didn't want to be part of. For instance, you would be in church, and these were like some of my own key turning points. And the church would say, hey, there's a prophecy, there's a word from the Lord for the year. And then it does not happen. And then we all forget about it.
Right.
So I think it's maybe it's the wiring, but there is the person in me who says, we can't let that go. Yes. If you let that go, then you probably never heard it,
Yes.
And but the critical turning point must have been when I lost my mom, which was when I pulled off totally, because a lot of people said I thought I was going to deal with the fact that she had cancer, she was going to die. We had seen everything, and I wanted to live with that fact. I wanted it to be a beautiful moment. I wanted her last moments to be beautiful. I wanted to deal with the fact that she was going to go, and that was nothing to, be depressed about. But, there was a lot of push-pull about, oh, no, this is what God is saying, this is what God is saying. I was like, are we sure this is what God is saying? Let's not, I don't know what God has said to you, but he hasn't said anything similar, to me. And then she died. And I thought a few people should come and, genuinely say, you know what, maybe we got it wrong. Or I thought a few people should go back to God and say, sir, why did you tell us what was not going to happen? And that comes from, the part of me that likes to thoroughly understand and not explain things away. So what I would say is that I've decided to see what the church can be and live with what I know it is not. So for me, I know it is not the moral compass that everybody thinks it is,
Right.
but I know it can be a great instrument for change, for society development. And so recently I put out a post about, I think they started donating 10 million naira to a cause, and everybody was like, of course, I'm excited, about things like that. I also see church as a place to really build young people, so where they can learn a lot of discipline working together, and I think those things should still be there. I just don't see them as a moral compass or anything again. So that's, for me, that's the difference,
That's really
and
what
it's nothing more than that.
The thing is, I love it because you're very honest about addressing the fact that you said God said, then what then happened? And the funny thing is there's so many people in church till today, some of those pastors and everybody who actually have the same issues, but they just don't have the courage to actually come and say, how far, like if this happened, why didn't you talk about it? I mean, there are probably so many people who had prophecies about who was going to win the Nigerian election.
Of course.
Everybody, I was in a group where we had one prophecy. Somebody else was in a group where they had another prophecy. In the end, we saw the results and it wasn't any of that. And I definitely do think that it is a huge issue that we haven't learned to say, I was wrong. It's almost as if there's this fear. Or what do you think it is? Like, why would a pastor come and say, God said? Where do you think the struggle is? Do you think that the struggle with them is they think they heard wrong, or they're afraid to go and ask
Well,
back?
so for me, I've been able to, it's two ways. It could be that, but I've also opened up my mind to the possibilities that maybe there was no God talking to them in the first place.
Maybe it was their mind.
Maybe it was just, them. I think they fall under the burden to tell people what they want to hear.
Right.
Which is why I say running a church is a really tough business because people also want to hear something.
Right.
And I don't think they want to hear what, I don't think they want to hear the truth.
Right.
All the time.
Right.
And you can fall into that space.
Yeah.
And so what that does is that it makes you no different from a politician.
Right, so it's performance anxiety.
Exactly. It makes
propaganda.
It was like when, I remember when the bomb blast happened, way back then, I think it was Tinubu that was governor, and there was chaos everywhere, and he went on TV and said everything is calm, it's just a small issue. And I was thinking about it that, well, that is what a leader should say at that point in time.
To calm everyone down.
Calm everyone down. So, what aspect of leadership in church is political, what is really the truth. But if you're not sincere and honest about both sides, then you're going to end up leading people, and you're just going to leave a lot of heartbreaks.
Yeah, so you just raise hopes.
Yes,
and
you
then
just raise hopes
happens,
and
then you don't
dashes.
deal
So
with it.
maybe I will never understand it, but I think I'm in a comfortable place where I can just, stay back. And,
all right with how it is.
Exactly.
One thing that you do that I'm actually, no, almost everything you do I'm a fan of, just so that you know. You are a great director. You are a great, I like the fact that Ant Hill Studios is a complete studio, so you know the sound, you know the editing. Like when you're directing, you're thinking about the editing and the sound and the scene and the transition, and you're thinking about everything at once. And the fact that you share that knowledge so willingly, are you aware that that's rare?
Now I am actually.
Right.
I didn't think it would be this rare. Now I am actually.
Yeah. And then everything that you do to intentionally share your knowledge. How did you get to the point where you were like, okay, do you know what? I'm going to start the blog. I'm going to start doing trainings. How did you get there? What clicked for you?
It's funny. It wasn't even. It wasn't necessarily because I felt it was like a good thing to do. Right. Not necessarily, even though that's what it is. But I'm a student of the internet, right? A lot of people don't know that I didn't go to any film school.
Right.
So I'm a thorough reader. As long as there is information out there to read, I will read it. I will watch it. And I grew up in the early days of, the computer village, so to speak, in the early 2000s, where the only way you learn a software was to go to computer village, buy tutorial DVDs and watch. And then the internet came. And I remember then I was in school, and you would wear your flash drive on your neck, and you would carry it around. You go to cyber cafes all night browsing, and there was no YouTube and all this fancy, so you would have to download lots of resources, and you go back. And gradually, I started thinking, this information are put on the internet by people,
Right.
you know. But the real spark was, I think, 2015 or early 2016, and a filmmaker was trying to do an audition, right? And she wanted people to send in their actor CVs, images and all that.
Right.
And apparently people didn't know what to do, and there was a lot of rubbish. And I thought that was a great opportunity for her to actually explain to people how to do it. But rather she went online and cursed them out and abused them.
Right.
And I think that was a trigger. And I asked myself, oh my God, if I go online and I type how to create an actor CV, some dude somewhere in the world, you know, has put out all that information. What is wrong with us? You know, that was a trigger. And, you know, I never used WordPress before, all these fancy things, but I knew a little web work. So I just went online, you know, bought a domain name, and I wanted it to be my name because I wanted to be associated with that. And I started, that was the first post, how to create an actor CV. And I saw the response and the amount of hit, and like, oh my God, this has to happen. And, you know, fast forward, we started doing, I wanted it to be more engaging. We did a competition where we got young people to make a film together.
I remember that.
Yes, Room 315.
And there was some controversy about that.
Oh, yes, yes, you know, but we survived it. And the funny thing about Room 315 is more than half of the people that were involved in that project are either doing their own films right now or are on major film sets. It was really successful. The year after that, I realized that there was so much struggle having women, you know, and the only roles that women could fill were either they're acting or producing. And I thought there was a huge opportunity they were missing in post-production and all that. And then we started Chicks in Post, which was to train young women, you know, and I would use my money and my space, you know, to gather them for 3 days, morning till night, constant training, hoping to achieve two things: to get them interested in post-production and actually, you know, get them to work and do stuff. After that, we would spend like a month on WhatsApp, you know, put them on a group, and then we'll constantly exchange. And I've seen the result. I keep asking myself, imagine if everyone, you know, imagine if we have 5 of this. Now, why is this important? We will never have this industry we're looking for if we don't have capable hands. You know, so it's not a competition. That is why we need to put this information out there, you know, explain to people this is how it works. And for a lot of young people to getting into the industry, I like to be very real. I tell the young girls what is happening, what's achievable. I tell the young guys so that they know what to expect when they get in, and everybody should understand the reality. It's not something you jump in and become a millionaire tomorrow. You know, you have to go through the process. So sharing builds, you know, it builds the business that we all can be proud of. And one of the things I like to tell myself is I like to create my own competition. I think it excites me, you know, as an individual, as a business person. I like to think that, the person running that studio were once my student. Oh my God, look at what they're doing. You know, I feel that in my old age, that would be a wake-up call, you know, to me to still keep, you know, working. And I love what I do, and I want to keep doing it. I don't want to be in my 40s and be a veteran or settled. No, I don't want that. I want to keep on doing this thing for as long as I can.
And obviously, if you don't build an ecosystem around you, you just grow and
that's you know, we see that happen, you know, a lot. So there are a lot of, you know, the older filmmakers, you know, that people think they are no longer relevant, but it's largely because they've not been able to build something strong, you know, around them. That's really, really important going forward.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, we have so much to talk about, but let's go on a quick break. We will be right back after this break with Niyi Akinmolayan.
Don't misunderstand me.
Ṣẹ̀dá láyé mi létò, àní lọ́gán tí ó dé o Ọlọ́run o. Láyé mi létò. Ayọ̀, 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 bàbá tí mo gbọ́. Let somebody shout the hallelujah, hallelujah. Hey, somebody shout the hallelujah, hallelujah.
Welcome back to the heart of the matter. Now, you're one of the few people who I know who is like always crying, let's do children's content. First of all, why is children's content so important to you?
Okay, so I grew up, you know, and thanks to my parents, I grew up in a very, what would I say, very poor local community, you know. I don't know why they went to build their house there, but we probably, you know, in our entire street, we were probably the only family, or maybe 3 of us, you know, that were actively going to school.
Right.
And we didn't have any exposure to the world, you know, that much. It was one place like that in Ekpaja, very, very remote, okay? And the only connection we had to that world was television. And those were the good days. Those were the good days where from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., there were options for really great things to watch.
Right.
Fraggle Rock, you know, Sesame Street. Come on, I can't stop mentioning. And I became a teenager and an adult, and it all disappeared. Okay? Everything I do now, you know, my love for the sciences, my love for art, my love for technology, they all started from the things I saw on TV.
Right.
Everything that I do now, that I'm interested in now,
Right.
including my love for animation, you know, because I remember I saw Toy Story then, and those things really, you know, got me excited. And my dad would allow us watch documentaries, you know. There was a very popular science show, you know, on TV then, and we would watch lots and lots of it. And in those days, you didn't want to be Whiskey. You wanted to be Superman. You wanted to save the world, you know. You wanted
Voltron
to, yes, you wanted to build gadgets, you know. You wanted to build robots and really cool stuff. And when you got to school, they influenced, you know, the kind of stuff you wanted to do. If you go to a typical school, and I'm not even joking, feel free to try it. If you go to a typical school and they're having like an end of year thing, you would hardly see demonstrations in the sciences, in like really beautiful creative arts. You know, I went to my alma mater like 4 years ago, and I can't tell you the kind of things, you know, they were wasting their time doing, the kids. They were just practically dancing and grinding and rapping. And I know that we are not going to build a future on rappers and entertainers. Let's not be deceived.
Right.
If people make money as rappers and entertainers, they want to leave this country, okay, and be signed
and go
to
somewhere
foreign
else.
record labels. That is the end goal of that. You could even see it even in film. People think that their end goal, like I put out something recently about this desire to win Oscars and Grammys, and you know, some people got offended. A lot of people want their end goal to be leaving Nigeria. So if we put all our effort on entertainment, we're not going to build anything. There is no country that has grown. India grew because they invested a lot in the sciences, math, you know, computer science. So everyone in the world needed them, you know, and they became powerhouses. Look at China; they invested a lot in manufacturing, and they became powerhouses. So I started thinking about what we're encouraging kids to be part of, and I started getting worried. Now I also knew that it was a show like Sesame Street was ran partly by the Sesame Foundation, but there was also something, every time you watch it, they will say, also sponsored by parents and teachers like you. Do you understand? And you will always see that at the end. So I know that there was a conscious, deliberate effort, okay, to invest in children programs so they can program the minds of the kids. Right now in my house, okay, I can't allow my kids out on cable TV. I need to get the stuff I want for them, put it on a hard drive, and because I need to control what they watch. A lot of parents don't have that time, you know, to do that. If we don't do it now, okay, it's only going to get worse. Have you seen the data on drug use right now among teenagers? It's because there is nothing else they're interested in. There is nothing else they're interested in. Have you seen how much goes into educational shows versus how much goes into Big Brother? Do you understand? And I tell people, said, we're complaining, but the people running the Big Brothers and all this, they're also parents like us. They're not robots. Do you understand? Or the people running the channels that don't allow great kid stuff to happen. They're not robots. They're people like us. So we allow it. It's up to us. Now, also because we have a very terrible government, the British government, for example, spends close to like £100 million every year on children content for the BBC.
Wow.
Why do they do that? Because you can't leave children content to the hands of advertisers. Okay?
Right.
You need to, so they inculcate that we are British, we are special, we are the best into the children.
So the values, the character, the patriotism.
It has to be deliberate. It can look like propaganda, but that's how you build society. Okay. Now, because the government is not going to do that, it falls on parents. It falls on people. It falls on the church. It's very hard to tell young folks now to do the right thing because the Bible says so.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
But you can help channel some of those core, and they're really sound principles, principles that have been taught in religious houses. There are really sound principles out of them. You can help channel them, through a lot of programming.
Right.
Okay? Now, Disney is a behemoth. They own practically every aspect of your child's life. They own all the big studios. Okay? If Disney decides, to go in this direction, that is what every child is going to consume. So what are we doing? There's no family channel. When I remember I reached out to, a DSTV once and said, oh, we're developing children content. Isn't something you look at? And, frankly, they looked at me and said, we can't create a channel. There isn't enough content. Meaning if there is enough content, there probably will be, a children's channel.
So it's like the people aren't investing in it.
People aren't investing in it. And you have to invest in it, not necessarily because you want money out of it. That's a shame. That's a big shame. If we're investing in children content because we want money, it has to be because it is important, because it is necessary. Right? Sesame is so powerful in the world. They now create characters to reflect. There's a character that has HIV/AIDS.
Right.
Do you understand? There is a character that has, sickle cell anemia, just to help kids like that cope. Do you understand? Now, I know people will get offended if Sesame eventually has a gay character. Okay? But, hey, that is on you, not on them. Okay? Do you understand
what I'm saying? You didn't create your own content.
Yes, if you're not going to create your own content, it's never going to happen.
We only think of the country in terms of there's no lights, the road is bad. But then there is a 20-year vision. If we keep focusing on there's no lights, the road is bad. In 20 years, even if there's lights and the road is good, who are the people driving on those roads? Who are those people running it? I really love that. We actually spoke to someone on the Heart of the Matter whose daughter was diagnosed with Down syndrome. And then she was looking for children's content to help her and her brother navigate it, help her brother explain what is Down syndrome, what is it, how do you live life with it. And she was speaking to us about how she had to, she said she Googled the whole of Google. And she only found, as far as she was able, like 2 other things in the world. And she thought, even if you find this one, it's Caucasian, the culture is different. And so she started to do a whole series. And she's from the series of books, she wants to do cartoons, she wants to do jingles, she wants to do songs. And I really think that if pockets of people keep on just getting the inspiration to do it and finding the funding within our means, and prioritizing it really, because
if you prioritize it, the funding will come. People put their money where their heart is.
Right.
If you think that that is the heart of the matter, so to speak, you will put your money in it, and you won't even think twice
before you do it. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, now they're working on a lot of projects. Like, what's the big project you're working on that's really exciting you?
Oh, well, I mean, we work on tons of projects, be it film and all that. But I think the most exciting one would be an animated feature called Frogek. And it's really exciting.
Frogek kind of sounds like Fraggle Rock. Were you inspired?
No, not really. Funny enough, it was one of the guys in the studio. They were playing with a character that looked like a frog and a wild gecko. And then we combined words together and it just stuck. But this is very interesting because 5 years ago, I was doing a tour of orphanages in the country.
Okay.
And I met with a guy and I was able to convince him that we should start a reality show just with orphanages in the country. Just basically create awareness and use it to just give them money.
Right.
And one of the things I noticed was that every time you go to an orphanage, and there are tons of them in the country, I mean, a lot of people don't visit orphanages, you should. It changes your perspective. One of the things they do is the kids will always present a number, do a song, for you. So a lot of them are active places where they teach the kids how to sing.
Right.
And it never left me. So we started thinking about a story idea, that happens in an orphanage. Orphanage means we get to put lots of children, different culture, different people, and then, the
Like
orphanage.
Annie, sort of.
You said?
Kind of like Annie.
Exactly, it's kind of like Annie, and the orphanage is about to get shut down by some villain, okay, and then the kids decide to save their orphanage by themselves, okay, luckily with the help of this alien who accidentally lands. So the alien is like the little angel that lands in, the orphanage and it helps them. And it never left me since then. And when we built Anthill Animation Studio, we just earmarked it as one of the key projects. So we started work on it. Of course, we're still looking for money, to make it thoroughly happen. But we're very optimistic about it. There's information about it online. There's frogegg.com, where people can see what's going on. But yeah, so Frogegg is supposed to be that film that gets everybody excited, about children's content. But what I know is that next year too, I'm actively thinking of doing children, teen adventure type stories, the Harry Potter types, the Chronicles of Narnia type, where you have like really young actors from 10 to 15 get into really interesting environments and then solve problems, and of course I know a lot of people will ask, how is it going to sell? Will anybody watch it?
They will watch it. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, no, but it wouldn't even be because of that. It would be because we need to do it. We can worry about how we get everybody to watch it later. But if we focus on we need to do it, every other thing will line up.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I had the best time. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Stick around. We will be right back. Welcome back to the heart of the matter. That was such an amazing conversation. Clearly, we could have gone on and on for hours. But one of the things that really struck me was the passion and the perspective that he brought to the idea of children's content. That it seems like in this country so far we are focused on monetary and short-term gain. However, investing in children's content is a longer-term endeavor. And if we don't invest now, in 20 years, what would happen to our country? It's definitely food for thought. But thank you for watching this episode. Remember to follow us on all our social media pages. We are at HOTM TV on Facebook and Instagram, and HOTM channel on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.